I'll talk about the introduction. I'll talk about how to design micro-learning activities. I will also talk about strategies in implementing micro-learning, specifically in the classroom, and how to assess the effectiveness of micro-learning and some of my concluding remarks before I will turn over to two of my colleagues who will be exhibiting and demonstrating what I am talking about with all the designs, implementation process, assessment rubrics or assessment methodology, and some of the concluding remarks. Before I will start, who among you here have experienced or complaints that you've been preparing or you had a sleepless nights in preparing all your content, but unfortunately, your students did not even download or dare to click your materials? Or you notice also that in your class, when you are in the synchronous session, your students are something like this. While they are in the computer, they are sleepy, they got bored, and the worst is they sleep inside either in the physical classroom or in the virtual classroom, especially during synchronous learning. And I believe, and I must admit also, that sometimes many of my students are also sleepy if I am not prepared in the class. Many of my students, when I bombarded them with a lot of activities that sometimes impractical, maybe because I am not ready, or maybe because I fail to pilot or I fail to simulate all the activities given in the class, and that makes the interest or boredom comes in among my students. So what is micro learning? So those are some of my motivations, and actually this is part of our project on micro micro credentials. And in the micro credential project, many of the literature, many in the literature always bring us to the idea of micro learning. So what is micro learning then? In the previous workshops, or for those who are our suki in attending the faculty development and the other seminars in relation to our project on micro credentials, I define what is micro credentialing means, but this time we will focus more into the pedagogy, which is on the micro learning. Okay, so what is micro learning? Micro learning, from the name itself, micro learning, micro meaning it's small. So it's a teaching pedagogy, it's a teaching method that involves delivering small, focused bursts of content to learners. So focus. So when we say focus, it's either intended only for this group or intended only for this kind of learner or intended only for this kind of year level, typically through digital platforms. That is why during the online distance learning, we got a lot of complaint. And in my introduction, I asked you of that because we received so many complaints also that how come that our students are not reading or downloading our materials? And then when you look at the materials, oh my God, it's like 2 hours video. It's a 2 hour pre-recorded of our teacher, and there's no animation. It's all the face on the screen. And for sure, you also will easily get bored if the animation is too, or the object that we see or we saw on the screen is very static, and that for sure you will be bored also. Micro learning is actually biased to digitally enhanced teaching and learning. That is why micro-learning is always associated with micro-credential courses, and micro-learning is always delivered via a digital platform. Micro-learning are bite-sized learning modules. When we say bite-sized, not the long one, it might be the smallest of all the unit, and that's lesson. And most probably inside a lesson, you are going to dissect into a very specific topic, which designed to meet specific learning objective and are characterized by their brevity and accessibility. You have to take note that the idea in microlearning, because this is in technology enhanced environment, it's not only on content, but it's also emphasized on accessibility. Sometimes students do not want or did not download your material because it's not accessible. And when you say accessible, it's not about only about the internet, but it's about how large and how big the file. That is why, because it's 2 hours, that is why students cannot download the material because that's perhaps it's 1000 gig and difficult to download. Or perhaps that's very long and the size is too large and too big and that's difficult to access. So brevity that refers to content, while accessibility that refers to the environment, the platform itself. Micro learning activities can range from, take note, few seconds to a few minutes. It did not say few hours. Few minutes in length, making them ideal for addressing targeted learning needs in a concise manner. I know that in the Philippines, if we have a 3 unit subject, and if that is a 3 day in contact, that's basically 1 hour. Or if that is a 2 hour contact in a 2 day contact in a week, that's gonna be 1.5 hour.